The topic for discussion is the financial relation between the center and the state. My name is Bindu Zachariah George. I'm going to talk to you about a topic that's close to the heart of most law students, especially in the second semester of law in Indian universities. The subject matter of our discussion is the financial relation between the center and the state. In financial field too, we understand that the state is more than dependent on the center for support. In fact, for the developmental plans, the state is purely dependent on the center. No state can afford to work without active financial assistance from the center. Let's look at the provisions as per the Indian Constitution. When you look at the Indian Constitution, Article 268 to 293 in Part 12 deals with the financial relations. Now, let's also look at how the distribution is done. Generally, if you actually look at the federation, along with the distribution of legislative and administrative powers, the financial resources of a country is also distributed to ensure that there is financial independence of states. However, the Indian Constitution does not make a clear cut distribution of financial resources. This could be one of the reasons why the states have to go back and ask for help. If you look at it, it could be in the form of subsidies, it could be in the form of some sort which the state needs at that point of time. Now let's look at the taxes which are exclusive to the union. In income from certain subjects like customs and export duties, income tax, excise duty on tobacco, jute, cotton, etc., corporation tax, taxes on capital value of assets of individuals and companies, estate duty and succession duties in respect of property, and other anything other than agricultural land, and income from the earning departments like the railways and the postal offices have been assigned to the union government. Let's look at what is assigned to the state. Income from land revenue, stamp duty, except on documents included in the union list, succession duty and estate duty in respect of agricultural land, income tax on agricultural land, taxes on goods and passengers carried by road or inland water, taxes on vehicles used on roads, animals, boats, taxes on the consumption or sale of electricity, toll, taxes on land and building, taxes on professions, traders, calling and employment, duties on alcoholic liquors for human consumption, opium, Indian hemp, and other narcotic drugs. Taxes on the entry of goods into the local areas, taxes on luxuries, entertainments, amusements, betting, and gambling. Then we look at the taxes levied by the union but collected and appropriated by the state. Let's see what those are. The taxes on the following items are levied by the union government, but the actual revenue from them is collected and appropriated by the state. For example, stamp duty on bills of exchange, checks, promissory notes, bill of landing, letter of credit, policies of insurance, transfer of shares, excise duties on medicinal toilet preparations which contain alcohol or opium or Indian hemp or other narcotic drugs. Now let's move on to the last bit of it, which is the tax levied and collected by the union but assigned to the state. What are those? The tax in this category are levied and collected by the union, but they are subsequently handed over to the state where they are collected from. Such taxes include taxes in respect of succession to properties other than agricultural land, state duty in respect of property other than agricultural land, terminal taxes on goods or passengers carried by railway, sea or air, taxes on railway freights and fares, taxes other than stamp duties on transactions in stock exchanges and future markets. We also have taxes on the sale or purchase of newspaper and on advertisements published therein. Taxes on purchase or sale of goods other than newspapers where such sale takes place in the course of interstate trade or commerce. Now let's also look at what is shared. The taxes which are levied by the union but which it shares with the state. Taxes on income other than agricultural income and excise duties, which is other than the medical and toilet preparations which are levied and collected by the union government, is shared on an equitable basis with the states. How do we distribute this? It is decided by the parliament through a law. Now we have understood these laws, but we also need to understand which all articles are relevant and which we need to keep in mind. I'm just going to give you the articles. You can look up those online, or probably you can go to your constitution textbook and have a look at those articles. They are Article 268, which is very relevant. Then you have to go through Article 269, 270, 271, which is again the surcharge on certain taxes. Then you have the grandson aid, which is Article 275, 282, which deals with the discretionary grants by the center and state. Then you have Article 274, which deals with the previous sanctions of the president. And 301, you will have to go through that, for the freedom of trade, commerce, and intercourse throughout the territories of India, which is guaranteed, but the parliament has the power to impose restrictions in favor of public interest. So I would like to conclude my conversation on the grounds that we definitely need to go back and refer the textbook, but these are the points that could help you in getting a brief preview on this topic. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it.